Can't sleep. That's when they get you. I can't convey to you how important sleep is. And for most of my life, that phrase, as ludicrous as it is, can't sleep, that's when they get you, has been like a guiding star of my life. And essentially, you can watch someone's decision making go downhill over time if it correlates with the less they sleep. Like both just flatline eventually, but it's a slow process. And since your decision making is being lowered by not sleeping more than 4 hours, um, it doesn't matter if you sleep 8 hours, like if it's broken into 4 hour blocks. That sleeping in a 6 hour block to getting your brain into a deeper level of sleep is, I once again, I cannot convey how important that is and the difference it can make on a person. And like, I only recently put all this together, and since I've been 28, I put sleep as one of the most important things a person can do to having like a functional mind, but I still could never sleep more than 4 hours. And like, I have a thing of like constant nightmares, um, and my brain just shows me horrible shit, and usually it's being done to me. So sleep would be something I would try to avoid if I could. But obviously, you can't. You need to sleep, and that there's no way I could ever have slept 6 hours. Like the idea is like humorous. Like how would one go about doing that? Unless I was drinking myself into unconsciousness when I was younger, or taking like heavy hard drug use, or I had a woman that I trusted. That was like a drug to me in itself, um, which also shows you like probably how into the like a person that I trust I am, which is unhealthy, because it's like a narcotic. Unimportant, unimportant. Sleep is what's important, and it you essentially you are having your mental functioning and your decision making if you are not sleeping in like a 6 hour block. And for the longer you do it, like the poorer your decision making will get, because not only is your decision making halved, but you are consistently making worse decisions. And so things start to seem like a better idea that aren't a good idea at all. And over time, it's like that makes it tighter and tighter. So, after a couple of weeks, it's 49%, 48%, soon 45, 40. And soon you're like consistently functioning on a level where you're not the same person. Like you're making such different decisions, but you don't notice this. And I mean, I've seen it in many other people's, and most prevalent of all, I've seen it in myself. And now I've been able to manage to get myself to sleep in like 6 hour blocks, and I can't tell you the difference it makes. Like, there's, I lack the words to be able to convey how much of a difference it makes. Like, it's life changing. Um, but like, if you would have just tell me that when I was younger, like sleeping 6 hour blocks, yeah, what fucking good does that do me? There's no way I'm gonna sleep in 6 hours. Like, can't sleep. That's when they get you. Uh, and like that, when it that thought or impulse or feeling or whatever it is can't sleep, that's when they get you. Like, sleep is a moment. Sleep is time when you're vulnerable. Like, unless you are confident in the world around you that it's not going to hurt you, Like, why would you ever sleep more than 4 hours? Like, you can't. That's when they get you. That's when you're weakest. Uh, like, I always thought it was funny, like an animal. Like, I tend to hide when I'm sick because I don't want people to know, because that's when they get you. If you're in a weakened state, they're gonna come for you then because you're in a weakened state. Now he doesn't have the same, you know, ferocity. We better strike now. So, if you had just told me that, I couldn't do anything with it. And it took a lot of other stuff, uh, dealing with emotional issues, really, to be able to get to sleep 6 hours. But I would have never connected not sleeping with making poorer and poorer decisions. And it really is life changing. Like it feels like you're a different person when you can sleep 6 hours, 8 hours even, and wake up. Um, it's dramatic. Like I don't want to like sound corny with like and say like life changing, but it really is. And um, I I can't explain either all the evil things that live in the dark when I try to sleep. And like I can walk around in the dark, pitch black. My vision is made for the night. I've been awake at the night most of my life at this point. I function better. Uh, Not better, but I function very well in the dark and at night. And if I'm trying to sleep, though, the shadows come alive. I I don't know how else to say. I will be fine, not troubled at all, sitting in the dark. But if I'm trying to sleep, like my brain starts to make things out in the shadows, and once again, it is all the most horrible things you can think of, or I can think of. Uh, Things that are truly terrifying, and they'll come out of the dark. There's hands that exist under the bed. The bed can be on the floor, and there will still be hands coming up to grab. Uh, Always. Can't sleep facing a wall because a minotaur will attack me. This has been since this is obviously very old, but it's been that way 10, maybe. That's when I can begin to start remember the coming of the minotaur. It's stupid and it's crazy, but like fear isn't like a rational thing. It's not like a thing that makes sense. Uh, that's like the fear itself is irrational. So like the fact that the fear takes on completely irrational forms means nothing because like you've already made that step into irrationality. So like the next is not, it doesn't have to be rational. It doesn't have to make sense. But it changed like my mind being able to sleep 6 hours. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like it made me think differently. It was like a whole new section of my brain is alive when I've slept more than 6 hours. It's like over here somewhere. And I can't say that actually lines up, but like it's like there's a new part to my brain, um, that isn't normally there or hasn't been there most of my life, you know. And this, like, even I would sleep in 4 hour blocks, but I would make sure to sleep 8 hours. Uh, like, because when I got to be like 28 years old, I started to learn how important sleep was, along with like eating at similar times throughout the day. Like, trying to make myself as functional a human being as I could, but like I could never sleep more than 6 hours. Like I could never sleep more than 4 hours, and rarely could I sleep 4 hours. Like that would be like the extreme. Um, so like sleeping six is unheard of. But uh, being able to get myself calmed down and like, oh, to feel a sense of safety, to not feel like I'm constantly at threat, like, which was something that was like so normalized for me. Uh, Even though I had managed to lower it a lot, like I still never felt a sense of safety in my life. It's not something that was part of me. And I have a feeling this is one of the things that the girl was talking about when she had told me there's so much wrong with you. You don't know that anything's wrong with you. Uh, and I suspect this is one of those things. Like I did not experience a sense of safety, and like the only way I could get that was being close to her. Uh, but irrelevant, irrelevant. Sleep, 6 hour blocks. Like this is a life changing thing. Like I said, and there is no replacement for it. Um, it I don't want to overstate, but it will ruin people. Like experiencing just what I did off never sleeping more than 4 hours, like the decision making just down, 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 down over time. And since you're making worse and worse decisions, it's like instead of operating at like 50% decision making capabilities, like since you're already at 50, you're making decisions that make your decision making lower and lower. So like you're starting to operate on 35, 30% decision making capability. So you're making worse and worse decisions more and more. And this is just a path to madness and terrible things. Terrible things. Anyway, yeah, sleep 6 hours. It's life changing. And I know it's easier said than done if you're a person that's like I was. But hey, take it for what it's worth, I guess.